Okay guys, so in this task we're going to be doing the number 4 of the if else while variable, right? So it says write a program that prints the alphabet in lowercase. We've done this before in number 2, but the only thing is that it said followed by a new line and then print all the letters except Q and E. So when they execute the program, you can see that we don't have E and then we don't have Q. Okay, so it should print everything except this thing. We could use put printf to print out this thing or put, but they said we should not use it. And then we could use putchar to print it several times because putchar will only print one character at a time. You understand? It cannot print more than one character. Okay, so um if we do that, we'll be using it probably like 19 times or so. So all your code should be in the main function and then you can only use putchar twice. So the thing is, they said we can only use this putchar twice. Okay, so like the first one, I'll be showing you two methods to solve this, and these two methods will be using the while loop and using the for loop. Okay, so we'll copy the name of our file, right? So I'm trying to copy it. So you need to have cloned your repo alxds and then put your readme inside and then create a directory this, put your readme inside and you will add this one to it. So this is the directory, right? So if I ls, you see all the past things I've done, right? So let us vi for the first one, the one I'll be using the while loop to solve. So if I enter, then I can insert and then I'll first include my stdio.h, my header file, and then I'll add my commenting or description so that Betty can let me go. And then I'll say print alphabets except Q and E, right? So we have our return value. Our return value should probably be always 0, right? And then we end it, right? So we create our main function and it's in this function that our codes get executed, right? So I'll do this and then tab. So don't forget this place should have void since we have no parameter yet for this task. So I will create an int, sorry, a captcha to store a variable. Let me just call it let me just call it, instead of alphabet that we've been using, let me call it I. So we are storing I in this stuff. So let me initialize it and say I equals to a, like we always do, and then end it. So I could call that I alphabet like I used to do, but for simplicity let's call it I. So the next thing I want to do is I want to say um, while loop, right, in order to execute this thing. And this is the syntax of the while loop, right, yes. So we'll do our putchar, okay, to print I, right? So what I'll do is I'll put my statement and say while, right, I is less than equal to z, right? So what I'm doing here is I've said, sorry, okay, so what I'm doing here is I've said that I equals to A originally, right? So this one is A. As far as A is less than Z, right? So it's going to print this. As far as this thing is true, it's going to execute this code. So A is less than Z, so it's going to print A. So we need a way to increment it so that when it comes back, because it is true, it's going to come back. When it comes back, it will become B. And to turn it to B, we'll just increase it and say I plus plus, okay? So that's, we are saying I plus 1. You could also use I equals to plus 1, right? But equals to plus 1 like this. But we could, for simplicity, let's just use this as this is widely used, okay, and acceptable. So the next thing is I've increment it, and then with this I should be able to print A to Z, right? So I've printed this and then we'll have our new line. Yeah, putchar. So you use putchar to print an new line, right? And then we'll return 0, right? So with this, if I should compile it, I think I should be able to get my A to Z. But the thing is, okay, let me compile it and let's see. Okay, so let me first use Betty to check it. So Betty said we are correct. So if I compile it with GCC, right? So GCC still said we are correct. See, we have A to Z, right? So I don't want to print E and Q. So how am I going to do this? Let me clear my screen and veer into the tags again, right? So what I'll do is I'll put a condition before it prints all these things. So I'll put all our code into an if statement. So I'll say if, sorry, so I'll say if, and I'll put a condition here first before I'll put this one inside. Before it prints it, it has to pass through this condition. So I'll set a condition for that E and Q before it prints this, right? So let me just put this one well so that Betty will not give us error. And then let me put this one like this. Okay, so I think this should work. Okay, let me put this one on a new line. Okay, so I think this should work. So let me then put the condition. So I'll say if our I, because I will be A, right? Before it prints it, if our I is equals to E, so equals to E will be double equals to, right? And so for and should be, is it ampersand? Yeah, I think this is and our I is equals to if our I equals to E, so this E I will put it in a quote. If our I equals to E and our I is equals to Q, or sorry, if our I is not equal to, so if not equal to Q, it should be not equal to. So what I'm saying is, as far as I is not equal to E, it should print this. But if it's not, so this thing will come and see, is I equal to E? Is I not equal to E? If it is true, it will print this. But if it is not, it will just print, it will escape and continue, right? So I think let me just remove this space, okay? And then let me, I hope I'm not in caps lock, WK. Okay, so let me use Betty to check this. Okay, Betty said we are fine. So let's compile it, right? And compilation said we are fine. And if we print this out, okay, I think there's something wrong. Okay, there's something wrong with the code. SVI. I was trying to notice that. Okay, so let me see. Is there something we're doing wrong? Okay, so I said, so if this is not equal to E, it should print the I. So I think this implementation should be outside. So I'll just put this outside. So else it should just increment our I. Okay, so I think this one should work. So I said while I is less than equal to Z, right? It should print, and then this one would print, and then we increment it here outside, right? So this one would go like this, and then normally we'll print A and then B and then C, but we not give it an if condition. So it knows that this is A already, and it is ready to execute whatever is inside, right, the first time. So because A is less than Z, right? Okay, so if we now say if I is not E, as we know, so if A is not equal to E, it should print A, right? So once it prints A, it will go out of this if statement and then increment it, right? And then go to the while loop again. Okay, so that's what is supposed to be done. And then it will come, and then while when it increments till it gets to E, while this one become E is not equal to E is not equal to E. So when it gets to this place, then E will become equal to E, and then this stuff will not get executed, and then it will jump to this one. So I think it will work this way. So as well as for Q. So if I quit this and Betty it, Betty say we are fine, and then if I compile it using GCC compiler, it worked, and then let's try it again. Okay, so ABCD, and then we don't have our E, and then we don't have our Q, RSTUVWXYZ, PQ, no Q. Okay, so that will work for our using the while loop. So let's use the second method, which is going to be the for loop. So let us just copy that one, right, and then just give it a name called forprint.c. Okay, so I've copied it. So let us vi into forprint.c. Okay, so the next thing we're going to check is, let me insert mode. So we want to replace this ones with for loop. So the first thing I'll do is I'll change it to for loop, right? Okay, I think we're done with that. And then this initialization, I'll bring it inside the open and close bracket here. So I equals to A, so I'll just say char I. Then here I'll say I is equal to A, put my semicolon, and also put semicolon here, right? Then I'll bring this where is the last one, I plus plus, I'll bring it here. Okay, so I'll say I plus plus. Okay, so I'll come here and delete this one. Okay, so by the end of this, let me try and run it and see. So if I get it 4.c, it says we are good, and if I compare 4.c, okay, and I run my a dot out, it's still going to give me the same thing. So this is how to quite solve this guy over here. All right, so see you in the next video.